Welcome to the Wichita Eldercare channel, brought to you by Stan Webb, Principal with Dreamcatcher Wealth Management. Today's guest is Ray Frederick from Keystone Support Services, Wichita's premier geriatric care management practice.
Good morning. You're listening to Dreamcatcher Wealth Management Show, and we really appreciate you being here this morning. I know it's beautiful outside. We're getting some of this fall weather out there, and there's a lot of things you could be doing. So whether you're just, driving in the car or the truck, or whether you're out working in the fields or out, just out in the garage, or you're just hanging around or having that last cup of coffee, we appreciate you being here today. The last few weeks, we've been talking a little bit about as we age. What do you do when you or your loved ones needs a little help, whether it's a little help around the house, or how do you start? Who do you go to? Sometimes you may not, you may be able to see these things coming, and sometimes they just happen overnight. Broken hip, broken arm, just an accident. They may need some care. And who are you going to go to outside of the doctor? Maybe your parents don't live the same place you do, so you want to make sure that they get some great care. So remember, that's, when you're looking for help, one of the things you want to do is to find experts, and as you know, that's what we do on this show, is to talk about people that know what they're doing. That's the most important thing. And today we're going to have with us Ray Frederick from Keystone Support Services, and they are an expert in their field on helping you be able to find the right services with the right people, and that's going to be very, very important. Also remember, if you want to reach out to me, you have a question you would like for us to answer on the show, go to www.dreamcatcherwealthmanagement.com and send me an email. We'll answer your question, and we don't always answer them online unless you say it's okay. Otherwise, I just get the answer back to you, and we're able to help you without you actually picking up the phone and calling. Because I know for some of you, picking up the phone and calling someone and saying, I'd like to talk to you about some of my investments or my strategies or my estate plan or my parents need help, it's hard to do. But if you have that strength, the number's 316-265-5151. Okay, now here with us today is Ray Frederick from Keystone Support Services. Ray, thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you, Stan, for the opportunity to come in and talk more about a very important issue that many families are faced with, and that's care for a loved one. And so that's what Keystone Support Services is all about.
Yes, thank you. And let's just start out, because I've mentioned the term Geriatric Care Manager, and exactly what is a Geriatric Care Manager, and then what do you guys do at Keystone that fulfills that?
Well, first of all, Geriatric Care Manager, I think it's important that family members, when they research, that they find someone that is certified in that field. And certainly Diane, my wife, is certified as a Geriatric Care Manager. She has a strong professional background in geriatric care, and together we coupled my personal passion for helping elderly and forming Keystone Support Services. But as a care manager, it can involve many aspects for family members. It can be helping medication, certainly management, get to a doctor appointments, household issues, helping provide services that way, just being a single point of contact for family members.
And I think that's very, very important. And, you said a word that I relate to very, very well, and that is passion. I have a passion for what I do. I love to be able to help people in things and areas that I know. And I know that, both of you and Diane, your wife, really have a passion for helping people. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, a little later in the show. But, when it comes to Geriatric Care Manager, when should a family typically start reaching out to talk to someone like yourselves?
Sooner than later. And that is often a most difficult time to evaluate. When is the right time? Well, the right time is as soon as you see any signs of maybe dementia, a need in the home, bills going unpaid, house not being taken care of the house like they should, just any of these little signs. That is the time. Do not wait.
Okay. And then it could even be, say, something where that they're just not able to maybe drive to the store safely and get groceries. Maybe they're out and about and driving when they shouldn't, but they still need help, but it's hard for them maybe to want to say, I need some help.
Well, giving up that independence is very difficult, and it can become a dignity issue. But yes, you are exactly right. Those signs along the way, those are red flags. And families, they too often we have a tendency just to ignore those and say, well, tomorrow will be different. Yeah, it will be different. That doesn't mean it'll be better. But so do not ignore those signs along the way.
Yeah, that's very true. That's a great point, and it's so easy to want to do that. Well, it's just right now, and that's what the people say that are in the situation. Oh, it's just this week, or I'll be better tomorrow, or whatever it may be. And then you as a family member looking on, you don't really want to admit many times that, well, my mom really does need some help. Because you know that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's going to be a battle. Because, no one wants to give up that independence, even if it's just a little bit. None of us do. I know I won't either. I'm not going to want to give up because I'm a pretty independent person to start with. So when it comes to me trying to give up any of it, look out, I'm not going to want to do it. So I'm telling my family that too, if they happen to be listening today. If you just joined us, this is Dreamcatcher Wealth Management Show. This is Stan Webb, and we have Ray Frederick here with Keystone Support. We're talking about how do you help someone that needs help? How do you get started? Okay, so we've determined that sooner's better, any of the warning signs. And I might add to that, too, that if you suspect that they may start needing help, that's the time to call, because if they don't need help, what would you tell them? Well, you would tell them, well, you don't need anything yet. Watch for this. Keep it going. And, it's great to be earlier than it is to be later.
Absolutely. And we do that. I mean, we have family members contact us and say, can we have a consultation? We have some concerns. And so we'll do an assessment for the family. And there are times that we say, you know what, it's not no, it's just not now. But certainly there will be that time that's available later on, I'm sure, when our services would be needed.
Yeah. And that's a good thing to know, because you don't want to be afraid to call. It's better to call sooner and then, have the consultation. Do you guys charge for a consultation?
We do not.
Okay, there you go, audience. If you're unsure but you think you're getting close, ask now and be prepared. When we come back in a minute, we're going to ask Ray to stay with us here for a longer part of the show. But we're going to talk about the certifications. What are the certifications that may be needed? We're going to talk about how do you find the right geriatric care manager. We're going to describe some of the benefits. Why would you want to do this? You can wait until you go to the hospital. Then they say, oh, you're going to get out of the hospital. And by the way, this person's got to be out within 24 hours. Find some help. Here's a list of people. Go for it. That doesn't work too well. I'll share some stories about that. So stay tuned, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Dreamcatcher. This is the Wealth Management Show. This is Stan Webb, your host. Thank you for listening. Remember, if you've got questions about your money, you can pick up the phone and call me at 316-265-5151. I could sing you a jingle, but I'm going to assume that you're going to remember that number anyway. Also, go to my website at dreamcatcherwealthmanagement.com. You can find some information, some updates, and you can email me your questions. I get those questions from people, and it's really, makes me happy that there's listeners out there that have questions, and they call and ask me, or they email me, and I'm able to help them, whether it's with their 401k, should I put in this percentage? Should I pay off a bill first? These are great questions, and you always need somebody to be able to ask. When I was younger, I didn't know any experts really to ask. So I learned a lot by trial and error, and then I met a lot of smarter people, and then I went to school and met a lot of more smart people, and so here we are 30 years later, still in the business. Okay, we're here with Ray Frederick with Keystone Support Services. Today we're talking about geriatric care managers, and I'm saying that we're talking about them because really that's the emphasis. Many times you need someone to help manage your loved one's situation and care, because if you don't know what to do, you don't want to put them in the wrong spot. You don't want to hire the wrong care. You don't want to be paying a lot of money for things that are not necessary. And this is where, their ability to potentially help you to save money is to make sure it's spent on what's needed, not necessarily on just what someone comes in and what you think they need, and you pay for services that, they may not need. Okay, so Ray, thank you for being here on the show today.
Thank you.
Okay, let's just go in and, we talked about geriatric care manager. Let's just talk really briefly, because there is a certification that how many people in town have that you know of?
Well, actually, Diane is certified through the National Association of Geriatric Care Managers. I'm not aware of anyone else in Wichita that is, but there may be. But I know that certainly that is a very important element of the services we provide, to have someone that is certified through the National Association. And also that means continuing education. It's something that never ends because of just the need to continue to educate and advance yourself in this area.
That's a great point. And I don't know of anyone either. And, there again, I like to use experts in the field, people that, know what they're doing. And, even though you have certifications, doesn't always mean that, you're always going to have perfect answers. But it means you're probably going to be really, really close and a lot better than those that are, just kind of trying it out or been doing it for a few years. Okay, now how would a family find the right geriatric care manager? How would they be able to pick up the phone and call you, or a website?
Well, we do get a lot of our clients come through our website, Keystone Support Services, LLC.com. And certainly through the website, people in town, out of the state, that they find us through the website primarily.
Okay, that's great. The web is very, very much helpful when it's used in the right way. You can actually find good information. I also know that you guys have a listing on my Eldercare channel, which is WichitaEldercareChannel.com. You can go there for a lot of other support services as well if you're looking for different companies. Or if you don't want to have to do all the research yourself, you would call, Diane and Ray at Keystone, and they can point you in the right direction of service companies that would be good to use. And that kind of brings me into my next question, as far as what are some of the benefits in using a care manager to help navigate all the senior services?
Well, and it is a very complex area of, challenge for families. And, not only as far as being certified is important, but also coupled with, Diane has over 20 years experience in elder care and geriatric care. And so, those things coupled together are so important. And, for families, because, where do you start? I mean, who do you call? What about mom? What about dad? What about Medicare? What about Medicaid? What about power of attorney? All of these things are very complex, tough decisions for family. So you need someone that not only has been there and done that, but also is trained and certified.
I think that's really, really important. And I had mentioned that I've used your services and referred you people before. And just, one person that comes to mind is the fact that they've been a client of mine. I mean, I'm their financial advisor for 20 years or more. But they don't have family close. And they sometimes will look to someone they trust to help them out, because they may not think they need any help. But sometimes, even as their wealth manager, I will see things that are irregularities and need to call in experts to go and help them so they can help themselves. And that's one of the things that I did, is to call you guys. You guys went in, you did an assessment, came back with, some different, things to do, and she's so much better. And, the things that you've been able to do is to help her, help the family, just get things in order. And in this one particular case, stop her from driving. Because, she hadn't had a driver's license in good standing in a couple of years. So, you go into even things like that, which was just amazing to me. And, and for that reason, I really appreciate it just from their being their friend, their confidant, and their financial wealth manager as well. But, now it's time for, me to kind of to help out. And then you guys really took it to the next step and were able to, to help that out. So let's just do we'll do a couple more questions. We'll be heading into the last segment of the show here pretty soon. But, seniors who need help sometimes don't want to admit that they need help. Even the person that I recommended, a very strong-willed person. So when does a family need to intervene?
Again, sooner than later. And it's not unusual, and the case that you cited is so typical. I mean, we have individual family members that have been independent all their life, and to all of a sudden to admit that maybe I need some help, that's not easy. It's not easy for anyone to say that. But when that happens, and in this case, yes, as her financial advisor, obviously you did a good job because you positioned her to where this lady now has the funds and the finances to really afford the care that she needs. And so, for that help and that referral is so important. You are the eyes, that were on her and the situation and brought that to our attention, where then you pass that off to us as far as the services for geriatric care and in-home care as well. We have that same relationship with, we find that from attorneys that, certainly have clients, and they'll reach out to us as well for similar situations.
Yeah, hold that thought, Ray. When we come back from the next break, we're going to continue talking with Ray Frederick from Keystone Support Services, and really, how can you help mom and dad? What are some things to really look for? We'll try to wrap it up in the next segment with maybe some flags to look for. What are some flags that would say, hey, these are 4 or 5 major things that I need to look for? So stay tuned. Welcome back to Dreamcatcher. This is Stan Webb, and really do appreciate you listening in today. We've got a great guest, and we're talking about geriatric care. Now, this could be for people that are not necessarily considered older persons, but if you have a loved one that needs help, or in the future, you're going to notice that they're needing some help, a geriatric care manager could be the place to look so that you get the proper services and the best companies to help, I should say. Yeah, easy for me to say, right? Would be to get the best services and costs for what you're getting. And they can help, recommend some companies to do the services that are needed. Okay, if you have a question, remember, go to dreamcatcherwealthmanagement.com. Send me an email. Also, don't forget my book, Optimize Your Wealth. You can get that here at the local bookstores. You can go to my website, get it online, and yes, you can still get it at Amazon. And if you don't do books anymore, you do Kindle, that's available too. Okay, moving on. Geriatric care. And, the main thing is it's really helping loved ones out so they do not do things that would hurt themselves. So we have to help them protect themselves, whether it's financial, whether it's medical, whether it's just in services. Can't drive to the store, can't get groceries, can't get their hair done. Just depends on what the situation is. This is where, you can get some help. Now, we talked about times to intervene. Let's just, Ray, thank you for being here. Let's just kind of quickly review, say, 3 or 4 things that you can think of that may be flags or warning signs for when you should intervene, even though mom and dad or Aunt Susan or whoever it might be can't quite do it. When would you say, we need to have some help?
Some of the red flags that we certainly see in family members to make them aware, it could be, mom or dad not taking their medications like they're supposed to. They forget. Bills are going unpaid, which is not the way mom and dad typically behave. They are maybe not eating like they should. You'll go to their house and open the refrigerator and there's no food in there or very little. Those are all signs. Or we've had experience where a family member, is preparing their own meal and forgets to turn the stove off. Just those things. Or driving and then getting in the car and then not knowing where they were going and finally finding their way back home, or someone helps them find their way back home. These are issues, these are real live issues that we've encountered with family members. So those are red flags, and those are signs that there needs to be some intervention.
Yeah, and every one of those flags that you've mentioned, I've either had family members on one or the other side of, mine and my wife's family, or I've had clients where I've been the one that helped recognize some of those flags because they had to do with monetary issues.
Absolutely, and that is so common. And, people are good at faking at times. Family members are. They fake pretty well. And, they'll just discount one thing, but then as you dig a little deeper and spend it, you realize, oh, yeah, it's not just this. It's some other things as well. You're exactly right, Stan. You certainly can visit our website at Keystone Support Services LLC.com. That's Keystone Support Services LLC.com. Or call Diane, my wife, Diane Frederick, at 316-461-8427.
Okay. And that phone number again?
316-461-8427.
And since Diane's not here today, be sure to call her. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, she is the expert. She would, be the one to call. I'm just kind of razzing her a little bit since she's not here today.
And she is the president of the company, that is.
So, Ray, thanks so much for being here, and really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Stan, and thank you for the opportunity.